Hello and welcome to another basic how-to video. Now this one might be a little basic for some of you, but there are a ton of new players, especially since the early access of Save the World is on sale for half off right now. And I have also been getting quite a few questions regarding how I farm for nuts and bolts and or mechanical parts. So this is just a basic rundown of how I prefer to farm. Not a whole lot of secrets here, but I can show you what to hit and what not to hit, and that will ultimately save you a grip of time. So, let's get into it. Alright, starting off, before you do any farming, make sure that you go down to privacy settings and make it private. Do not farm in public lobbies. Do not. And secondly, either if you have one of the two, Recon Scout or Pathfinder, you want to use one of those two. I prefer Pathfinder with Recon Scout as my support. Recon Scout allows me to get an additional 6% extra chance to find double loot. Anything that drops has a chance for a double proc. And then I run Gunblazer Southie in my tactical so that my llamas will spit out ammo as well as resources. But he, if you missed Horde Bash, you cannot have access to this guy until they bring him back. So this is my farming loadout. I run Recon, Gunblazer, and Pathfinder. Alright, so here we are. If you're watching this during the winter event, you see these Christmas trees, always look for presents. That one gave weapons and all kinds of goodies and ore. That will divvy up the goodies to everybody you're playing with in the map. Now the other ones that aren't beefy rewards like that, you'll get ammo, nuts and bolts, things like that. And then anybody within close proximity will get the present as well. Now for nuts and bolts, obviously you want to smack all of these parking meters, but you also get mechanical parts. So I don't go for just nuts and bolts. I always go for mechanical parts because I also use a lot of traps and weapons. So by going for mechanical parts, I will always get nuts and bolts as well. I know a lot of people don't like beating up cars, but literally it's 3 to 4 hits. Up 3 hits. That took so much time. Now something to note about Outlanders and farming is, let me see here. You may notice that I'm glowing. Or hold on. Oh, they changed it to where if you pull out a gun, it goes away. Okay. So, that hits for 310, right? So watch this. If you hit 5 times in a row, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. You hit it again, 430. So as long as you're in farming mode, where you get this glitter, you can do extra damage. If you're curious about the difference between Recon Scout and Pathfinder, I do have a video about it. But I basically beat up all the cars, because you can get mechanical parts and nuts and bolts. I'll punch buses because they have the biggest health pool. Magazine racks can drop mechanicals and nuts and bolts. ATMs.
Hold on.
And every time something drops, there's a chance for me to get double loot on it. I'm not going to do a full clear. We'll try to just speed this up. Mailboxes can give you stuff. Wheelbarrows. Let's see what else is there I can show.
No way.
Fire hydrants. Street lights. Maybe not.
You serious?
Bum, 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 bum.
Can't.
All metal laying on the ground.
Need to rest.
Will not give mechanicals, but you can always get nuts and bolts. All these terminal boxes. There's green ones like that. There'll be blue ones on wood poles sometimes. There'll be little silver ones. Vending machines are good. Again, ATMs. The gas pumps. Phone booths. Let's see, apartment complex. Yeah. Come in here. So the stoves, the exhausts, and refrigerators can give mechanicals and nuts and bolts. Same thing with tubs, toilets, sinks, and the little wood TVs. If we can find one. And a lot of times, bathrooms are always on top of each other. If you can find a bathroom, there are lots of apartments where people don't believe in pooping because there'll be apartment complexes with no bathrooms. But if you find one, there's usually they're usually located on top of each other.
Not into it.
Hold on. I don't have a weapon.
Nope. And see.
Again, cars are always good. Cars are always good. There's a small group that do not believe in breaking cars. And they'll run by them. Like this. Waste. What a waste. Another thing, on top of roofs, the AC units will drop mechanicals and nuts and bolts. All of these red toolboxes you want to search anyways, because you can get rotating gizmos as well, mechanicals, and then break it afterwards. Most people don't break them. I don't know why. The garden shops are always good for gnomes because they can drop power cells. So always beat up gnomes. Also inside the garden center, you've got lawnmowers. Lawnmowers give you mechanicals and nuts and bolts. Also in the downtown, if you're lucky, you can find a laundromat and an arcade. Those are mechanical and nuts and bolt haven, man. They are beautiful, but you don't see them very often. We'll see if we can find a nightclub also. There's another hardware store. There's always going to be a row of stuff right here.
Sorry.
Again, washing machines are good. Water coolers. There should be one down here, right here. Water coolers. Or whatever they're called. Stove, exhaust. These TVs right here. The independent TVs with the wood outside body. Those will give you mechanicals and nuts and bolts. Bathrooms. Same thing if you find a hospital. All of the lights. The sinks. The gurneys. They all give goodies. See if there's anything down at the fireplace.
Tired.
The Pathfinder and Recon Scout can see through walls. So there's purple valued items down here. There's no way in. Oh, there is right here. Sometimes they're actually completely covered up. Inventory's full. All of the little cans laying there, you see coffee cans, they will always have nuts and bolts. Same thing with bacon. Here's the blue terminal box. These green ones, these big ones have lots of health. They'll give you stuff as well. Here's the smaller green, smaller blue. Lots of times behind dumpsters there's goodies. Usually ammo. I'm on a rubber band because there's mist monsters active. And I'm not engaging. Eventually that should get fixed, hopefully. If you have a bunch of stuff, you can just power through it with your charge.
Can't.
Christmas trees during the holiday event. You want to go grab those? Bum, 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 bum. There's always, if you see the little trailer park outpost here, you always have a refrigerator, a toilet, washing machine, and a stove. If you run another Pathfinder as your support slot, you'll have even more pickaxe damage, but you'll lose the 6% bonus loot. You can always tell where you are on the map by all the white dots of the loot that you leave behind.
Nope.
Also, while you are glittery and glowy after your 5 initial hits, you also move faster as well. Vending machines. Let's see if I can find a nightclub. No nightclubs.
Nah.
Here's the metal registers.
I found the landing site. The location of the landing site has been added to your map. Any attacks
Arcade
from the storm's
machines.
creatures could corrupt the data. You'll
Fax
want to go
machines
to
down
places
here,
around
or the
balloon's
copy
landing
machines.
site.
If you find the nightclub, the speakers in the corners will also give you. There's also a male and female restroom on the ground floor, then all the speakers in the corners. There's nothing in this map at all. There's also a gym in the city areas you can run into, where you go into the ground floor, take the stairs up to the second floor where there's windows overlooking the street, and you'll have all kinds of treadmills and other goodies that you can break for nuts and bolts and mechanicals.
It happens.
Jeez. What a boring map. There's nothing. Just a bunch of apartments. Apartments are good, though. But I wanted to show everything.
Good. Stock up.
But if you do that, you clear out all the rooms. Like, here's a kitchen right here. If we come in here, clear out all the kitchens, go up and down all the apartments, kill all the cars, parking meters, you can easily get 200 plus mechanical parts in under 20 minutes. And almost, God, I've had over 1,000 nuts and bolts before. Just put on a couple songs. Should take about 3 to 4 songs, depending on how long they are, and you'll have a cleared zone and a crap ton of stuff. Also, the cans of nuts and bolts, especially when you're in a grassland or a forest map, always check behind rocks. Jeez. Jeez. So right here you got nuts and bolts. Right here you got nuts and bolts. They're everywhere. Nuts and bolts are everywhere. These can also be bacon if you have an issue with bacon. If you really need to find bacon, always loot the toilets as well.
Tired.
Nuts and bolts. And then if you haven't seen it already, you've got a loot cave down here. Whenever you see this little area, I have a video on that as well. It's mine.
Can't.
And after I posted the known whereabouts of my secret loot cave, Epic suspiciously added husk spawns down in it. Bastards. All right, that pretty much wraps it up. On a side note, I know some people that also like to farm in the industrial maps. I have just found that I can accumulate more nuts and bolts and mechanicals from the downtown maps in a lesser amount of time when I do a full clear. So I typically won't farm in the industrial zones. But if we're doing an encampment mission or a build the radar mission and we're in the industrial and we've got time to kill, I'll definitely go ham on all of the vehicles, the metal laying around, the brick, the wood. I mean, there's all kinds of goodies in the industrial zones. But that doesn't necessarily mean that industrial zones are bad. I just prefer to farm in the downtown zones. Sometimes a warehouse can spawn in the industrial zones that are stocked full of washing machines. Man, that thing is, I mean, I'll stop chasing down encampments to clear out the warehouse if I see it. Shh, don't tell anybody. Anyway, if any of you guys have any other tips on farming, please feel free to inform us all down below. I'm sure there's lots of other things people like to point out and do. I'm sure there's anal retentive people who'll be like, cars are a waste of time. But, well, whatever, man. Whatever. So, anyways, let us know. I'm curious if there's anything else people do besides what I do. I do prefer Pathfinder over Recon Scout. I got other buddies that like to do the reverse. Well, they'll run Recon Scout and Pathfinder. But I did have a very detailed breakdown and comparison of the two and how to combine the two in a different video. So feel free to check that out if you're really curious on which one's better. So, with that said, I'm out. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye now.